Hi, everybody. Anthony Crane with Pocket Coach here. Let me start my timer. Today's experiment, and again, 5 minutes to get the gist of it, and more if we need it. Today's experiment is called product identification. So let's take a look at the problem this one solves. This is for a company that already understands the projects to products journey and why they need to do it. So if you don't know that, we'll have a separate video to try to help you understand what it's all about and why it's important. Also, I have 3 articles on Tech Beacon magazine you can look up if you just want to read about it. So at this point, we now understand we need to move to a product, away from that project mindset towards a product mindset, but we're not sure what a product is or what they should be for our teams. Number 2, hypothesis. If we gain a clear understanding of our products, we'll be able to craft like these long-standing teams that we can dedicate to those products, and they can own those products from concept to cash, from cradle to grave, right, until end of life. And that way our teams will be nice and stable. My teaching example is the Happy Meal. So Happy Meal's been around 51 years. So if you had a team dedicated to the Happy Meal, they would have been quite stable, right? And other than turnover and whatnot. Time frame. This is a 30-minute experiment. You can ask people to persevere halfway in. If we do this, we should see a massive increase of flow of value into our products. That's the purpose of this particular experiment. Skill growth. So to do this, 1, you understand that every epic, every feature, every story either creates a product or improves a product, right? So that's the first thing you understand. And now you start looking for that. And you realize, hey, if I create one of these, I have to say what product it belongs to. That's where the funding comes from as well. You've looked at your backlog of work for maybe a quarter or a year, and you've distilled the underlying products. As you look at those epics and features and stories, you realize, oh, that's what the product is. That's actually long-standing, years, not a project. You start thinking of everything as products. You've distilled, let's see, you have assigned those products to teams. So now every product, what team owns this product, and you have a sketch of the teams and their products. So you sketched out what that might look like. So first, what is a product? Okay, so let's cover that really quick. There are a couple of kinds of products, right? So number 1 is a company product, right? So let's say you're working for McDonald's, a product would be a Happy Meal. If you're working for Cisco, maybe WebEx is a product. So those are the company products. There are also the products of IT. If you have an IT department or you have a technology department, and their job is to help the business run by creating software for them, those are technology products. And then finally, you have services as well. One great example, if you look up Mountain Goat Software, they say a product is anything that has a marketplace. And the reason they use marketplace instead of customer is if you just have one customer and you're just a component, that's not really a product. It has to have a marketplace. In other words, you have a component that many teams are using, not a component that another team uses, then you're just a pair. You're just getting stuff done. But if you have a component that lots of teams use, then that might be a product. And when you get into business agility, notice that we're talking about the products of HR or the products of legal, right? HR might be ascension planning or peer review or whatever, or employee review. Those might be products of HR. Legal could be reviewing for compliance or whatever. I don't know. Not a lawyer, but anyway, so whatever it is, pick one of these. That's your scope. Those are your products. And aligning around company products can be really, really powerful. Aligning around the products of IT can be powerful as well as the other 2. Okay, so now what? Once you understand what a product is, in this diagram here, you can see that there are 4 different ways to think about products and teams. So in this first view, A, you have a single product owned by a single team. This is single agile team ownership. That means a team of about 10 or fewer people, right? A 2-pizza team, whatever you want to call it. B is a fungible set of teams. So here we have 3 teams that can work on the product, and they're fungible, which means you can swap them in and out. So any team can take any piece of work. This is a really agile setup. The next one, we have a very complicated product, so we break it up into sub-products. Like let's say that this is Cisco.com, then this might be logins and accounts. This might be shopping cart, this might be research, whatever, I don't know. So you break it up, and these teams uniquely own just their sub-product, but there's enough work to keep them busy, okay? But also you'll need a team that owns the overall product as well, okay? So that's C, a complex product. And finally, we have D. Here's one team that actually owns 3 products. In other words, one of these products by themselves isn't really enough to keep the team fully loaded. So we give them 3 products, and now, they have 3 products to work on. Of course, if all 3 need a lot of work, how do they prioritize? We'll have to figure that stuff out. Maybe you get a fungible team to come in and help them for a sprint or 2 or whatever, okay, or for a quarter, what have you. So those are the 4 different topologies. So that's the end of my time box. I'm going to cover one last idea here, which is just kind of the steps to get started. That won't take me the full 5 minutes. If you want to stick around for that, please do. Otherwise, I'm Anthony Crane, and I hope you enjoyed that first 5 minutes. Okay, let's hit start. To wrap this thinking up, for the team to product architecture, how do you get started, right? So now you understand what products are. You understand the 4 ways you might draw a product to team mapping. To get started, sometimes my customers are like, Anthony, we have so many products, we couldn't possibly draw them all, right? It's just too much complexity. I'm like, don't worry about it. Instead, look at your work for the next quarter, or if you want for the next year, right? Start with a quarter, then do a year. So what you want to do is when you look at that backlog, extract the products from the backlog items. So in this case, when you see an epic or a feature or a story, it's affecting something that's longer standing than itself, or creating something that's going to last longer than itself. It's identifying that maybe is a bit of an art. A lot of people seem to think it's obvious. I think it's obvious, luckily, because a lot of things are not obvious to me. But if it's not obvious, just get with someone who's done this a few times, and they ought to be able to help you see what their underlying products are to your epic features and stories. Now, once you extract the products, now map the products to the teams using one of these patterns. At this point, now, what are the people on those teams? And again, an agile team tops out at about 10. If you need more than 10, then you're going to want to have multiple teams and then use a multi-team pattern like Scaled Agile Framework or the team topologies, paired teams, whatever works for you. Lots of cool ways to do that. Sketch your product hierarchy, so you can actually have a whole hierarchy of your products if that's useful. And then once you have all this, you're going to want to look at value stream mapping. Value stream mapping asks, okay, now that we know our team and our product, what are the steps it takes to get value into those, and can we make those faster, better, cheaper? We'll have a whole different video on how to do value stream mapping. But anyway, that is pretty much the topic. So I have not convinced you why it's important to do this. That's a separate video, but when you're ready, now you have a strategy for finding your products. So thank you for watching. My name is Anthony Crane, and we'll see you on the next video.